Welcome to our channel. Today, we will explore the full history and value of the Kennedy half dollar, a fascinating U.S. coin from the post-silver era. In this video, you'll learn about its background, design, mint mark significance, metal composition, and why this coin still attracts collectors today. Whether you are a beginner or an experienced coin enthusiast, this guide will give you clear and useful information. Let's get started. Top 6 first up. The 1971 D. Kennedy half dollar is an important coin in United States numismatic history because it represents a major transition period in American coinage. This coin was minted just a few years after the removal of silver from circulating half dollars. By 1971, the U.S. Mint had completely shifted to copper-nickel-clad coinage, making the 1971 D. Kennedy half dollar one of the early fully non-silver issues of this iconic series. The coin was struck at the Denver Mint, which is identified by the D mint mark located on the obverse side below President Kennedy's portrait. Historical background of the Kennedy half dollar series. The Kennedy half dollar series was introduced in 1964, shortly after the assassination of President John F. Kennedy in November 1963. The U.S. government moved quickly to honor the late president by replacing the Franklin half dollar with a new design bearing Kennedy's likeness. The first 1964 Kennedy half dollars were struck in 90% silver, but rising silver prices and widespread hoarding soon forced the U.S. Mint to reduce silver content. From 1965 to 1970, half dollars were made with 40% silver, and beginning in 1971, silver was completely eliminated from the composition. This makes the 1971 D issue historically significant as part of the post-silver era. Design and artistic details. The obverse front of the 1971 D Kennedy half dollar features a left-facing portrait of President John F. Kennedy, designed by Gilroy Roberts, the chief engraver of the U.S. Mint at the time. The word Liberty appears around the top edge, while the national motto, "In God We Trust," is placed just below Kennedy's chin. The date 1971 appears at the bottom of the obverse, with the D mint mark positioned above the date area. The reverse back of the coin was designed by Frank Gasparo and displays the presidential seal, featuring a heraldic eagle holding an olive branch and arrows, symbolizing peace and strength. Metal composition and physical specifications. The 1971 D Kennedy half dollar is composed of a copper-nickel-clad structure, with an outer layer of 75% copper and 25% nickel bonded to a pure copper core. The coin weighs 11.34 grams, has a diameter of 30.6 millimeters, and a reeded grooved edge. This composition was adopted to reduce production costs and discourage hoarding, as earlier silver coins were being pulled from circulation by collectors and investors. Because it contains no silver, the 1971 D half dollar has no intrinsic bullion value. Mintage and circulation history. The Denver Mint produced approximately 302 million 1971 D Kennedy half dollars, making it one of the highest mintage coins of the series. Despite this large production, half dollars were already beginning to disappear from everyday circulation during the early 1970s. Many Americans saved Kennedy half dollars as keepsakes due to the emotional connection to President Kennedy. As a result, large numbers of these coins remained stored away rather than spent, which explains why well-preserved examples are still common today. Collector interest and market value. Because of its high mintage and lack of silver content, the 1971 D Kennedy half dollar is generally considered a common coin. Most circulated examples are worth face value, 50 cents. Uncirculated coins can sell for a small premium, typically ranging from $1 to $5, depending on condition. However, coins graded in mint state 66 or higher by professional grading services may command higher prices. Special attention is given to coins with strong strikes, original luster, and no contact marks. Errors and varieties. While the standard 1971 D Kennedy half-dollar is common, collectors sometimes seek out mint errors such as off-center strikes, doubled dies, clipped planchets, or coins struck on wrong planchets. These errors are rare and can significantly increase a coin's value. Genuine error coins must be authenticated, as damaged coins are often mistaken for mint errors by inexperienced collectors. Conclusion and numismatic importance. In conclusion, the 1971 D Kennedy half-dollar holds an important place in U.S. coinage history as part of the transition to modern, non-silver circulating coins. Although it is not rare or highly valuable, it remains popular among collectors due to its historical context, attractive design, and connection to President John F. Kennedy. For beginner collectors, the 1971 D issue serves as an excellent entry point into the Kennedy half-dollar series and offers insight into the changing economic and material realities of American coin production in the early 1970s. Next time, the 1972 Kennedy half-dollar with no mint mark was produced by the United States Mint in Philadelphia, which traditionally did not use a mint mark on coins at that time. This coin is part of the long-running Kennedy half-dollar series that was first introduced in 1964, shortly after the assassination of President John F. Kennedy in November 1963. The coin was created as a tribute to the late president, and it quickly became one of the most popular modern U.S. coins due to its historical importance and emotional significance to the American public. By 1972, the Kennedy half-dollar had already undergone important changes in metal composition. Unlike the original 1964 version, which was made of 90% silver, the 1972 issue was struck in a copper-nickel-clad composition. This composition consists of an outer layer of copper-nickel bonded to a pure copper core. The shift away from silver was driven by rising silver prices and the need for more economical coin production. As a result, the 1972 Kennedy half-dollar contains no silver, making it primarily a circulation coin rather than a precious metal investment. The obverse front of the 1972 Kennedy half-dollar features a left-facing portrait of President John F. Kennedy, designed by Gilroy Roberts, the chief engraver of the U.S. Mint. The word Liberty appears along the top edge of the coin, while the national motto, "In God We Trust," is displayed beneath Kennedy's chin. The year 1972 is shown at the bottom of the obverse. The absence of a mint mark indicates that the coin was minted in Philadelphia, as Denver and San Francisco coins carry D and S mint marks respectively. The reverse back of the coin showcases the presidential seal, designed by Frank Gasparro. It features a powerful heraldic eagle holding an olive branch and a bundle of arrows, symbolizing peace and military strength. A shield covers the eagle's chest, and a ring of stars surrounds the design, representing the states of the Union. The inscriptions, United States of America and half-dollar, are prominently displayed. This bold and patriotic design reflects the authority and dignity of the U.S. presidency. In terms of production, the Philadelphia Mint struck over 141 million 1972 Kennedy half-dollars, making it a high mintage coin. Because so many were produced, most examples found today are common in circulated condition. However, coins that have been carefully preserved in uncirculated or mint state condition can still attract interest from collectors, especially those with strong luster and no signs of wear. Although the 1972 Kennedy half-dollar without mint mark is not considered rare, it still holds value as a historical and collectible coin. Circulated examples are generally worth face value, while uncirculated coins can sell for higher prices depending on condition and grading. Coins graded by professional services such as PCGS or NGC may command premiums if they achieve high mint state grades. Today, the 1972 Kennedy half-dollar represents an important chapter in modern U.S. coinage. It reflects the transition from silver to clad coinage, the enduring legacy of President John F. Kennedy, and a period when half dollars were still produced in large numbers for everyday use. While it may not be extremely valuable, it remains a meaningful piece of American history and a popular addition to many coin collections around the world. Next time, the 1974 Kennedy half-dollar without a mint mark was struck at the Philadelphia Mint, which traditionally did not use mint marks on most coins until 1980. This coin is part of the long-running Kennedy half-dollar series, first introduced in 1964 to honor the memory of President John F. Kennedy, who was tragically assassinated in November 1963. The Kennedy half-dollar quickly became one of the most popular U.S. coins ever produced, widely saved by the public as both a tribute and a collectible. By 1974, the coin had already transitioned from precious metal to a copper-nickel composition, reflecting changes in U.S. coinage policy and economic conditions. The 1974 Kennedy half-dollar, no mint mark, was produced in very large quantities, with over 201 million coins minted at the Philadelphia Mint. Because of this high mintage, the coin is considered common in circulated condition. However, despite its abundance, the 1974 issue is historically significant because it represents the early post-silver era of U.S. half-dollars. From 1965 to 1970, Kennedy half-dollars contained 40% silver, but starting in 1971, the U.S. Mint permanently removed silver from regular circulation half-dollars. The 1974 coin is therefore made of a copper-nickel clad composition, consisting of 75% copper and 25% nickel, bonded to a pure copper core. The obverse front of the coin features the familiar left-facing portrait of President John F. Kennedy, designed by Gilroy Roberts, who was the chief engraver of the U.S. Mint at the time. Kennedy's image is dignified and strong, symbolizing hope and leadership during a turbulent era in American history. The inscriptions "Liberty" and "In God We Trust" appear prominently, along with the date 1974. The reverse back of the coin, designed by Frank Gasparo, shows the presidential seal, featuring a powerful heraldic eagle holding an olive branch and arrows, representing peace and strength. Surrounding the design are the words United States of America and half-dollar. Although the 1974 Kennedy half-dollar without a mint mark does not contain silver, it remains important to collectors for several reasons. It marks a period when half-dollars were gradually disappearing from everyday circulation, as the public tended to save them rather than spend them. As a result, many 1974 coins survived in relatively good condition. Collectors particularly seek examples in high mint state grades, MS65 and above, as coins with sharp details, full luster, and no major contact marks can be more valuable than average circulated pieces. In terms of value, a circulated 1974 Kennedy half-dollar, no mint mark, is usually worth face value to slightly above, typically around 50 cents to $1.50, depending on condition. However, uncirculated examples can sell for $5 to $25, while high-grade certified coins may bring $50 or more at auction. Special attention is also given to error coins, such as off-center strikes, doubled dies, or planchet errors, which can significantly increase the coin's value. Overall, the 1974 Kennedy half-dollar without mint mark stands as a symbol of America's transition in coinage and culture. While it may not be rare, it tells an important story about economic change, public sentiment toward President Kennedy, and the evolving role of half-dollars in everyday commerce. For collectors, historians, and enthusiasts alike, this coin remains a meaningful piece of U.S. numismatic history. Next time, the Kennedy half-dollar was introduced in 1964 as a tribute to the late President John F. Kennedy, who was assassinated on November 22, 1963. The coin was authorized by Congress and rushed into production, so it could be released less than a year after his death. Designed by Gilroy Roberts, obverse, and Frank Gasparo, reverse, the Kennedy half-dollar quickly became one of the most emotionally significant and widely collected coins in U.S. history. By the time the 1985 Kennedy half-dollar was minted, the coin had already undergone several changes in metal composition and public circulation status. The 1985 Kennedy half-dollar was struck at the Denver Mint, indicated by the D mint mark located on the obverse, just to the right of Kennedy's neck truncation. During 1985, Kennedy half-dollars were produced only for circulation, not for special collector sets like proofs, which were struck exclusively at the San Francisco Mint. The Denver Mint produced approximately 17.6 million half-dollars in 1985, a moderate mintage compared to earlier decades, reflecting the declining public use of half-dollars in everyday transactions. By 1985, the Kennedy half-dollar was no longer made of silver. Starting in 1971, the coin's composition was changed to a copper-nickel-clad structure, consisting of an outer layer of 75% copper and 25% nickel bonded to a pure copper core. The 1985 half-dollar follows this standard clad composition, weighing 11.34 grams, with a diameter of 30.61 and a reeded edge. While it lacks intrinsic precious metal value, it remains an important piece of modern U.S. coinage history. The obverse of the 1985 Kennedy half-dollar features a left-facing portrait of John F. Kennedy, with the word Liberty around the upper rim. The national motto, "In God We Trust," appears split on either side of the portrait, and the date 1985 is displayed at the bottom. The reverse depicts the presidential seal, featuring a heraldic eagle holding an olive branch and arrows, symbolizing peace and strength. Above the eagle is a ring of stars representing the states, along with the inscriptions, United States of America and half-dollar. Although the 1985 Kennedy half-dollar was officially released into circulation, by this time half-dollars were rarely used in daily commerce. Many Americans saved them as keepsakes, leading to large quantities sitting unused in bank vaults. As a result, most surviving examples today are found in uncirculated or lightly circulated condition, making worn examples less common than expected for a circulating coin. In terms of collector value, the 1985 Kennedy half-dollar is generally considered a common-date coin. In circulated condition, it typically carries a value close to its face value of 50 cents. However, uncirculated examples can sell for $1 to $5, depending on their condition. Coins graded MS-65 or higher by professional grading services may command slightly higher premiums, especially if they exhibit strong luster and minimal contact marks. Exceptional examples graded MS-67 or above are scarce and can be worth significantly more due to their rarity in top condition. The real collectible interest in the 1985 Kennedy half-dollar often lies in mint errors and varieties. Errors such as off-center strikes, double strikes, clip planchets, or die cracks can dramatically increase the coin's value. While major double die varieties are not commonly associated with this year, any unusual error verified by a grading service can attract strong interest from collectors. In conclusion, the Kennedy half-dollar 1985 represents an important chapter in modern U.S. coinage. While it is not rare or silver, it reflects the continued legacy of President John F. Kennedy and the evolution of American currency during a time when half-dollars were slowly disappearing from everyday use. For collectors, it serves as an affordable yet meaningful addition to Kennedy half-dollar sets, especially in high-grade condition or with unique mint errors.